Lovely. So if you want to, you can sit on a little cushion for comfort. When we raise the hips a little bit, it lets us sit forward, and then we can be a bit more lifted in the posture, and it also helps the legs to relax if we've got any tightness in the hips. Okay, so take a nice deep inhale, and as you exhale, close the eyes, feel the shoulders roll down the back, softening the hands onto the knees. And we're keeping quite tall and lifted through the posture, but allowing the belly to relax. And we're taking a moment to just observe the body. Recognize where we're at today in our mind and in our body. Take a moment to notice any emotions or feelings or thoughts you might have whizzing through the mind. Bringing in awareness. Bringing awareness into the body, just checking in where you could be holding some stress or tension. Or maybe just noticing certain areas if they're feeling worked, maybe from an exercise you've done or an activity, or maybe some discomfort from sitting down on the sofa or anything like that. Scanning through the neck, shoulders, down the spine. Focusing on awareness is really helpful because everything comes from awareness. Everything in our yoga practice, we can know that we're doing something with safe technique. And in our life, as we come through difficult situations, awareness can help us as well. Beginning to breathe more deeply. Slowing the breath, bringing our body into a relaxed state. So we're trying to see if we can make that exhalation longer than the inhalation. Maybe bringing some ujjayi to the breath, so that very slight constriction in the back of the throat. And as our breath is so important in our restorative practice and for our stretches, I thought we would do some alternate nostril breathing just to really try and clear the sinuses and get the most effective breath that we can. So just checking in that that belly is expanding as you inhale and contracting as you exhale. Keeping your left hand on your knee, just bring your right hand up towards your nose. The ring finger pressing down on the left nostril. The middle and index finger just hovering over your nose. And your thumb is just lifted by the right nostril. Just checking in, you haven't tensed up those shoulders, keeping that relaxed state in the body. And completely exhale, emptying the lungs. And inhale through the right nostril, 4, 3, 2, 1. Retaining the breath, switching the fingers over. 1. Exhale through the left. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale left. 3, 2, 1. Retain the breath, switch the fingers. Exhale right. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Completely empty the lungs. Inhale right. 4, 3, 2, 1. Retain the breath. Switch the fingers. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale left. 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale left. 3, 2, 1. Retain the breath. Switch the fingers. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale right. 4, 3, 2. Last cycle. Empty the lungs and inhale right. 3, 2, 1. Retain. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale left. 3, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale left. 3, 2, 1. Retain the breath. Switch the fingers. 1. Exhale right. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Really empty the lungs. Push the stale air out. And relax that right hand back down on that right. Bring the hands to the heart. Thumbs pressing against the chest. Feeling the heartbeat. And take the thumbs to the forehead, keeping that prayer namaste position. And as the thumbs rest against the forehead, just try to draw focus in. All of your energy focusing inward. Forgetting that external. Just looking internally for the next hour. Softly bowing forward, bring the hands back down and open the eyes. Good. If you're sitting on a little cushion, then we'll just pop it to the side. And we're going to lie down onto our backs. Good. And bringing the soles of the feet together, we're going to let the knees drop out to the side, maybe tucking the hips underneath a little bit if you've got a bend in your lower back. So we want to try and sort of have the full length of the spine on the floor. Good. So those knees just dropping out to the side. Really try and let the hips open and relax. Still trying to connect in with that ujjayi breath. So feeling that oceanic sound in the throat. And then we're going to reach the hands up over the head like we stretch in the morning. Really reach the hands away. Lengthening the spine, and then just on an exhale, let the arms relax onto, above the head, just onto the floor. Breathing for 2. Breathing for 1. Let's bring those knees in together and then hug the knees in toward the chest. Again, just trying to keep the full length of the back on the floor so the hips stay down. And we're just going to move the knees in little circles, kind of massaging the lower back against the mat. And maybe changing direction. Good. And hug that right knee in toward the body. Let the left leg extend out. And then we're going to let that right knee draw towards our right armpit. So we're taking it out to the side slightly to let that hip open. Squeezing in and breathing for 2. 1. And release that right leg back down to the mat and just squeeze that left knee in. And then draw it across to the left armpit. Squeeze that knee in toward the ribs, the side of the body. Breathing for 2. Squeezing a little more on the exhale. 1. And release the legs. Take those arms out to the side, and then we're going to bring both knees up to 90 degrees, and we're going to come into a twist. So we're going to drop the left leg just down, and then we're going to let our right knee come over toward our left side. And you'll feel a nice spinal twist. Just take it easy, just remembering that we're letting gravity do the work. So we're just focusing on breathing and relaxing the body, rather than thinking of forcing any stretch. And then using your exhalations to see if you can ground that right shoulder back down toward the floor. It's probably lifted a little. And then maybe looking over to your right hand. And just visualizing that right knee coming down towards the ground. One more deep breath here. Use your exhalation to just sink into the mat. And nice and gently just release back to the midline. Slow movements. The left knee lifts up to 90 degrees and the right leg extends. And on an exhalation, bring that left knee over to the right side. Find that sweet spot, that right position for you. And then work on just surrendering to the mat. Maybe looking towards your left side. And just visualizing that left knee coming down towards the ground. And really releasing through the spine. One more deep breath. Release back to the center. Oh, lovely. And before we come to sitting, we're going to take our happy baby pose. So we're bringing those knees sort of by the ribs and then holding through the inside of the feet and holding the soles of the feet. And the feet are flexed, and then we're kind of using the feet as levers, so we're pushing down on the feet so that the knees push down toward the floor. And the hips might lift, but try to visualize lowering the hips down onto the floor so you're keeping that full length of the back on the mat. And if you want to, you can kind of rock side to side, feeling that massage of the spine against the mat. Keeping yourself present in your stretch. So really immersing yourself in those physical sensations as you stretch out the body and clear the mind. 2 more nice slow and long breaths. Maybe trying to make that exhalation longer than the inhale. And then release the legs. Good. Sitting yourself up nice and gently. We're going to bring the legs straight out in front of you. And we're just going to ease our way into a forward fold here. So rocking forward and side to side a little bit, just to kind of shift the fleshy part of the bottom out to the side so you can feel the sitting bones. And as you inhale, take a nice lift through the posture. And as you exhale, again, not trying to kind of be too forceful, just lowering the chest down toward the shins, the head pulling toward the toes. And you're visualizing growing length in your body here. So you're growing that spine really long. The hips kind of push back behind you to extend that lower back. Keeping the knees relatively soft. And keeping a slight flex in the feet as well. Take one more nice slow breath here. Maybe coming to your maximum that's safe just before we come out of the stretch. And inhale, release, lifting up. Good. I'm going to shift around to face the front. So we're going to hug that right knee in toward the body. Try to kind of walk the foot really far in towards your hips. And then we're going to let that knee drop out to the side. Sole of the foot turns up toward you. And then really just try to keep this leg nice and relaxed. You could always put a block or a pillow just underneath the knee for more comfort. And just as we did in forward fold, we're going to take a nice inhale and lift of the chest. And then as we exhale, without being too forceful, just walking toward that straight leg. Keeping that right leg relaxed. And feeling that pull of the chest toward the shin and the head toward the toes. So thinking of breathing length. One more breath. And softly releasing, lifting up. And that left arm lifts nice and tall above the head. Right fingertips just behind you. And then as you exhale, twisting round. Looking over that right shoulder. And really focusing on that twist through the middle of the spine. Using each exhalation to feel space come in the body. And to maybe look a little further over that right shoulder. Keeping the neck nice and soft. Keeping that right leg relaxed, just being aware that it might tense up. And one last breath. Inhale, grow tall. Exhale, rotate. And softly release back to the center. Nice. And we're going to release that right leg back out. Take one breath here. And then draw that left leg in. Hugging it in, really walking the foot as far in as you can. And then allow that knee to drop out to the side. Lovely. Checking in that we're keeping this leg relaxed. I don't know if anyone else finds it, but I find that sometimes I tense up my bent leg while I'm doing my stretch. So just being really aware. Taking a nice inhale, growing tall. And as you exhale, leaning toward that straight leg. Keeping a gentle flex in your right foot as well. And that just lengthens our hamstrings. You can also kind of hold on to that foot if it felt nice. Let's take one more breath, perhaps going a little further if you feel safe to. And inhale slowly, smoothly releasing up. Left fingertips just behind. Breathe the right arm tall. And coming into that twist. So looking over that left shoulder. Gently resisting, pressing against that left knee. So we're twisting round through the middle of the spine. On an inhale, we lift tall through the posture. And on an exhale, twisting, looking over that left shoulder. One more breath. Gently release back to the front. Good. Crossing both of the legs now. Finding that comfortable sitting position, feeling the sitting bones beneath you. If you are rocking back still a little bit, popping a cushion or a block underneath the bottom. Good, okay. So we're just going to gently loosen up the neck a little bit. So through all these neck stretches, just keep the neck really soft. You never have to be tensing the neck muscles. Okay, so just release the head back, let it completely drop. And then smoothly and slowly dropping that chin down toward the chest. So really simple movement. We lift up again, drop the head back, and it's like one continuous movement. So it's sort of a moving stretch. We drop the chin down toward the chest. And lifting up. And dropping down. 2 more times, lifting up. It's quite nice closing the eyes in this if you wanted to. And last time, lifting up. Dropping down, and we'll keep the chin down this time. And we're going to take a nice big head roll round to the right side. So roll that head and take this slow so that you can feel your way around the stretch. Because we're feeling the whole part of the neck now in this head roll. Let the head really drop at the back. And as you come round to that left side, take it slow, feel the stretch. Landing back with your chin against the chest. And we'll shift direction and we'll take that head round to the left this time. Feel that nice pull of the neck as you come round the side. And softening back. And releasing to that right side. Dropping the chin down towards the chest. Good. And lift. And we're going to draw those fingertips to the shoulders, my favourite shoulder stretch. And we're going to draw those elbows together as we inhale. Let the shoulders lift up. And as you exhale, shoulder blades squeeze together at the back. And inhale, lift up. And roll round. And inhale, lift. And round. And we're going to reverse that direction. So coming back and inhaling up. And exhale, elbows draw together at the front. And inhale, lift up. Really feel your way around that shoulder stretch. Exhale, down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, down. Lovely. Release the hands. Let that right ear drop down to the right shoulder. And then maybe letting that left wrist push away and draw down towards the floor. And then possibly adding on your hand just to your left ear. And careful not to press hard on the head, just gently increasing that stretch. One last nice breath, making sure that neck is soft. Firstly, let the hands release. And then lift that head nice and slow. And on your next exhale, drawing that left ear to left shoulder. Right wrist presses away. Maybe bringing that hand to the right ear. Softening that neck. One more breath. And firstly, release those hands. And then let the head lift up. Good. Lovely. Okay, so we're going to rock forward onto the hands and tuck those toes underneath behind us. So we're taking that nice stretch down the back of the foot. So at any point, if that gets uncomfortable, you can just point the toes and sit back on the heels like we normally would. Okay, so kind of maybe sitting back a little bit if you want to increase that stretch on the back of the feet. And then we're going to draw those fingers behind the head and interlace the fingers. And then we're going to push the chest forward like we're opening the front of the body. And you can just let the shoulder blades come together at the back. Like you're trying to open your elbows out to the side. And as you exhale, start to concave in, sort of curve the spine, squeeze the belly button in. And we're drawing the head down. Be gentle with the neck, so careful you're not pushing too hard on the head. And then inhale, open the body. And exhale, coming in, curving the back. Last time, inhale, open. And exhale, curving. And releasing. The feet might be getting a bit uncomfortable. We're just going to take 3 breaths. Just listen and observe your breath. 2, 1. Lovely. Leaning forward, releasing. Good. In our tabletop position, so spreading those hands wrist width apart and knees hip width apart. Good. Draw the shoulders down back. And we're going to take some nice rib rotations. So you're drawing circles with the ribs. So you're pushing out to one side, so maybe pushing out to the right, and then coming round in a circle. So coming through your cat-cow as well, so bending the back, pushing out to the left, reaching that middle of the back up. So you're trying to draw really big circles every time you go round. And you can pause wherever you feel you need to. And you can lean forward and back a little bit. So sometimes when I curve, I sit back a little bit. So don't be afraid to just really move in a way that feels good. And that's why when we're really in tune and really focused and really aware, we get the best practice because we know how we need to move and what we need, how to kind of get to those areas of the body where you're holding stress. Okay, coming your way back to center. And we're going to sit back in our child's pose. So just bring those toes together. Knees maybe slightly wider than hips. Rest back. Sitting back onto the heels. Visualizing the heels grounding. Softening through your upper body. Forehead against the mat. And if you wanted to, you could kind of rock that head side to side and massage the forehead against the mat. Maybe having a little wiggle with the hips. That can feel nice. And if your stomach's on your thighs, then you can feel that belly move as you breathe. And that helps you just to check in with your breath. Three more breaths. Letting everything go. Surrendering to your mat. Good. Gently release back up to your tabletop. And we're just going to take a bit of a puppy dog. So you can sit back as far as you need to. But if you can, see if you can keep those hips above the knees. They might naturally move back a bit, and that's okay. So we're walking those hands forward and then trying to kind of lower that chest towards the mat. The chest might not come all the way onto the mat, and that's absolutely fine. But that's what we're thinking of, that chest coming down. And really we want the neck really nice and soft so that the chin can be on the mat. If that's really uncomfortable, you can lift one way with the head. And try to relax the body here. 2, 1. Releasing back up. Nice. Good. So leaning forward, just walking the hands a little bit further forward so that you can lower nice and slow onto your belly. So coming down all the way. Lovely. And we're going to keep those feet together and keep a slight squeeze in the bottom just because that helps to protect our lower back. And our hands are tucked in really close, just slightly lower down than the shoulders, and the elbows tucking in, pointing up to the ceiling. We're going to take a nice deep inhale and lift that chest and shoulders. So you're in your cobra position. the elbows are bent, and you're really focusing here on that movement of the shoulder blades drawing down the back. So it's all about opening that chest. And exhale, lower down. Maybe shuffle the hands back just a bit slightly so that you can take a deeper back bend this time. Inhale and lift up. Just check that those shoulders are going away from the ears, down the body. Keep those arms tucked in close to you. And exhale, softly releasing down. And for the last time, you could take the hands a little bit further back if you wanted to. Take a nice inhale and lift and lift. And now, oh,
we've lost you.
Do you hear? Oh,
yeah.
How weird! I saw that my
You're
screen.
back. You're back.
Oh, sorry, guys. Interrupting our flow. Okay, we'll come back to that last up dog movement. I'm just checking that my phone is, I think it's to do with my charge because it flashed up low. Oh, there we go. Got one of these annoying cables you have to wiggle around and get it in the right position. Okay, so just come into that last up dog. So yeah, just check those hands are really tucked in close to you. There's a soft bend in the elbows and the shoulders drawing down. And it's kind of different to our normal up dog where we're quite tensed and we're reaching up. We're kind of letting those hips just drop down. We're allowing that lower back to collapse a bit more than we usually do in our vinyasa. So we can get a deeper lower back stretch. And release down back onto the belly. Lovely. So we're going to continue with another back stretch here. We're going to take our half bow pose and then maybe a full bow pose. But we're going to see how we go. So we're going to do one leg alternate at first. So we're going to hold outside of that right ankle first. Left hand is just supporting us. And then as we inhale, we're pushing our ankle against the foot. And then allowing the knee to lift off and the chest to lift off for our half bow. The knee will want to go out to the side, but we're just going to keep it in line with the hip. 2, 1, release back down. Switching over, so holding it outside that left ankle, supporting with the right hand. Breathe in, push the ankle against the hand, so allow the knee and the chest to lift off. Keeping that left knee in line with left hip. And it's nice, that left shoulder kind of opens back. 2, 1, release down. Now you might want to give this a go if you feel okay to. So holding outside both ankles. Knees in line with the hips. Shoulders are lifted and already opening. And then we press the ankles into the hands. Just gently so that our chest comes off and the knees are lifted off slightly. Keep soft through the back. 3, 2, maybe a little bit further for your last breath. And exhale, release back down. Good. Lovely. And we're going to lift back up onto those knees. We're going to tuck the legs under and sit back onto our bottom. Okay, so we're going to take our, I always forget the name of this, it's our hip closer stretch. So we're going to cross the legs over. We'll go with our right leg on top first. And I like to kind of lean forward onto the hands so that I can try and get my knees in line and then sit back. And it kind of helps me to line up my knees. So it doesn't matter if your knees don't line up with one another, that's just what we're aiming for. You can also pull back on the feet, because if you pull the feet back towards your hips, that helps the legs to line up as well. Okay. And at first, sometimes it feels quite tense for me, so it just takes a little bit of time to get relaxed in this position. You can always prop a little block or cushion onto the hips again. But we're going to literally just take a moment to sit here, so we're not leaning forward or anything yet. We're allowing those legs to adjust to the position that we just put them in. And we're breathing through. And if your legs kind of feel relatively okay there, relatively relaxed, you can take a nice inhale. And as you exhale, just walk those fingertips forward. See if you can lean forward a little bit. Try not to let the hips lift off loads. And tucking that head forward towards that top knee. Feel a nice stretch down the back of the neck, down the back. Really try to keep yourself relaxed here. Can feel like quite an intense stretch. So it's just important to keep telling the body that it's safe and everything's okay, and you can relax. The body can resist sometimes. We can use the breath to keep in that relaxed state. Breathing for 3. See if there's any way you can further soften or lower further down. 2. 1. And release, lifting up. Just take the legs straight out, and before we come to the other side, you're just going to have one breath in the center here. And then we're going to tuck that left foot under. Right foot under, and our left foot goes on top. And then maybe, as I like to do, leaning forward on those hands, to line up the knees and sitting back. Good. And at any time you can adjust. So if you feel like you could sort of bring your feet back further, then you can just take a moment to adjust. One side is usually tighter. That's normal. So as we did on the other side, we're just going to be here. We're not going to lean forward or anything. Just let these legs adjust. Steadying the breathing. Seeing where you can soften. And then if you feel okay to, you don't have to, if it already feels like enough for you, but your next exhalation, you can walk those fingertips forward and bring that head towards your front knee. Nice, slow breaths. Just noticing if you do find it uncomfortable, how your body's responding to that. Just check in and kind of keep in control. Telling yourself it's okay to relax, it's safe. Breathing for 2, softening on that exhalation. Breathing for 1. And nice and slowly release that. Good. And just crossing those legs, we're going to rock forward onto the hands. Continue with our nice hip stretches. So we're going to bring that right foot forward so that we come to our horse riding pose. So there's that bend in the back knee, rested on the floor, back foot's pointed, and then we check that we've got our right knee aligned with our right ankle. Take a moment here, try to visualize that left hip flexor pushing forward and down towards the mat. And if you feel okay and comfortable to, you could walk down onto the forearms. If you are using a pillow or a block, you could rest onto that pillow. It feels quite nice to rest your forehead down. And naturally, that right knee might sort of sway out to the side, and that's okay. You can let it just shift out to the side if it is. And just keep breathing into your hips, visualizing the hips lowering to the mat. And again, just that kind of feeling of surrendering to your mat. Reminding yourself that any discomfort is just temporary. So just as we do in difficult times when we have to keep ourselves peaceful in difficult times, the same on our mat when we get those difficult feelings and stretches. Just reminding ourselves everything's okay. We can breathe, we can control the mind, we keep our inner peace. Taking 3 nice slow breaths here. 2. Last breath, just see if there's anywhere else you can soften and release. Good. And lift back up onto those hands for our hamstring stretch. So we're going to bend that back knee, straighten that front leg. Doesn't matter if it's not fully straight, there might still be a soft bend in the right leg, but that's okay. And flexing that right foot back toward us. And then we're firstly thinking of lifting and just pushing the hips back. So it's like your tailbone is being lifted back behind you, and you should feel a nice pulling on the hamstrings. If your stomach is laying onto your thighs, and you're still really lengthening and pushing that tailbone back, and you could lower a little bit towards that front leg. But make sure that spine stays nice and long. Breathing, length into the body, and exhaling, softening. 2. Last breath, just seeing if there's a way that you might be able to deepen into that stretch. And release forward. And we're going to take a nice pigeon. So we're going to bring that foot and knee toward the floor, kind of finding a rough 45-degree angle with that front foot, front leg. Maybe bringing that cushion in front of you to rest your head on. Sitting kind of central in the middle. That's back leg straight. Inhale, grow tall. And exhale, bringing your way down onto that mat. Softening over that front leg. Good. Breathing for 3. Letting everything go. Just let gravity do the work. Feels nice. Breathing 2. And 1. And inhale, lifting back up. Just shift that right knee back behind you, finding a tabletop position. And we're going to take those nice hip stretches in the next side. So bringing that left foot forward this time. Finding our horse riding pose. So lining up that left knee with left ankle. And you're on that back leg, back foot pointed. Let that right hip flexor soften forward and down toward the mat. Already thinking of that feeling of letting the hips go and fall down toward the mat. bringing those hands to the inside of that left foot. Maybe coming down onto those forearms if it feels okay to. And that left knee might drop out to the side, and that's okay as well. Bringing the forehead maybe onto a cushion or block. And just finding if you are tensing anywhere, if you can release. Working with that breath. Observing your body. Feeling the sensations of that deep stretch in the hip. Breathing for 2. For 1, seeing if you can soften further down. And nice and gently lifting up into the hands. And we'll come into that hamstring stretch. So we're bending that back knee, straightening that front leg. Taking a flex in the left foot and really thinking of pushing those hips up and back, tailbone lifting. And then we grow long in the spine as we inhale, and maybe lowering a little bit if you can maintain that length in the spine. To feel a nice stretch down the hamstring. Breathing for 2. Seeing if there's any way you can deepen your stretch for your last breath. And release. Gently bring yourself forward for our pigeon stretch. So that left foot and knee come to the floor. Find that 45-degree angle. Back leg is straight and we're kind of sitting our weight in the middle. And we take a nice inhale and lift tall. And then exhale and slowly bring that chest forward. And just working with your breath here. Softening into the mat. Breathing for 3. 2. 1. And gently lifting yourself up. We're just going to bring that back leg round. And we're going to come to laying on our back here. I'm just going to shift my mat away from the wall. Perfect. Okay. So we're going to take that happy baby again. But we're going to just have the option to also come into a deeper hip stretch. So just holding those inside of the feet and trying to feel that back against the floor, especially trying to think about keeping the hips down. And then if you want to, you could start just extending the legs a little bit. Doesn't matter if they don't come to full extension, but just extending. You should feel a nice stretch down the inner inside of the thighs. And then if you wanted to, you could transfer your hands either to your calves or to your thighs and just let the legs drop out to the side. Also have the option, if you want to hold your big toes with the middle and index finger. So whichever kind of hold helps you get your best stretch. And we're breathing here, trying to allow those hips to open and relax, while still growing length into the back. So we're still trying to feel that back against the mat. Grow tall. Breathing 3, 2, 1. As you exhale, draw those knees back in. We're going to come to our Shavasana position. Release the legs down. Take the legs wide. If you have a blanket or a jumper, anything to get cozy, you can just pop it over you. You can put a pillow or blanket under the knees if that's comfortable. And either soften the hands onto the belly or just out by your side, the palms facing up. And those eyes just softly close. And sometimes we kind of forget how important this pose is. I always say it's the most important part of our practice, and it can actually be the most challenging part. So let's come into our Shavasana with the intention of really focusing and being present. Really just showing up for our meditation and relaxation, even though it's hard. And knowing that no matter how it goes for you, even if you get lots of distractions, that's okay. You're still doing something good for your mind and for your body. So letting go of those expectations in yourself. We'll begin simply by bringing ourselves more into the present moment by just observing the breath. So you're not trying to change or manipulate the breath. You're simply letting it be, allowing yourself to breathe, and just listening to it. Feel the journey of the breath through the body, through the nose, down the throat, and into the belly. Feeling that rise and fall as you breathe. And knowing that any distractions, any thoughts, the breath is your anchor. So you can come back to your present moment just by drawing your attention back to your breath. We'll bring your awareness just to the very top of the head. And begin to visualize and feel a wave of relaxation showering down over the body. Softening across your forehead and between the eyebrows. Allowing the jaw to release. The tongue drops down away from the roof of the mouth and just falls behind the bottom teeth. The eyes are still just focused on one spot behind the dark eyelids. And this wave of peace and calm travels down your neck and the shoulders that are supported by the mat and can completely let go and surrender. You don't need to try and change the position of your body and your shoulders. Just let it be wherever it's lying. Flowing down to the fingertips. Softening the arms, the hands. Softening across the chest. Feeling lightness in your heart. And down the back, feeling that back rested against the mat. See if you can feel that breath going into your back. Feeling that movement against the mat as you breathe. And allowing that to release tension from the body and tension from your spine. And all those muscles that work so hard. And now bringing your awareness to your stomach, where we can hold lots of tension sometimes. So really just checking in that you're allowing that belly to let go and relax. Allow those muscles to release. Sometimes we can develop bad habits of sort of pulling that belly in constantly. But this isn't so good for our stomach sometimes. It can cause stress. So just really allow it to let go. And the wave of relaxation continues across the hips. Let the hips just be heavy and open. Continuing down the legs, right to the toes, the ankles. And as your body becomes more relaxed, you might just feel like you're drifting above the mat. You might feel a lightness and an openness in your heart and in your soul. Really let yourself be and immerse yourself in this feeling. Really holding on to this feeling of relaxation in the body and in the mind. Knowing that you can come back to this in those difficult times. Remembering this feeling. Before we start to move, just send some appreciation and some love and kindness to yourself for showing up and doing something really good for your body, your mind and your soul. Just taking that time out to press the pause button, to refocus the mind, to stretch out the body, to bring the body into that relaxed response. So just appreciate yourself, feel gratitude for yourself for joining your practice. Feel this wholeheartedly. And just very gently start to move those toes and fingers. Maybe roll the head side to side to awaken and soften the neck. And when you feel ready, gradually coming over onto the right side of the body, curling up in the fetal position. And keeping those eyes closed, gently lifting to your cross-legged sitting position. Letting those hands melt against the knees. A gentle lift through your posture. Shoulders draw down the back. The chin is just slightly dropped to lengthen the back of the neck. And reflect on how you are emotionally and physically. Just checking in how you're feeling. Again, coming back to that awareness. Noticing any changes in the body. And draw those hands to the heart, thumbs against the chest. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings be happy and free. Gently bowing the head down. Inhale, open the eyes. Namaste. Thank you for joining me today. Hope you're feeling nice and light.